Okay, that was a long intro, but I really liked it, so you got to listen to the whole thing. I might sound a little under the weather. Yeah, I think I caught a cold again. Um, Nothing I can do about it, so just gonna press. As usual, if you can, subscribe, give a thumbs up, whatever format you're listening to. Just try to give thumbs up or definitely try to subscribe. It's going to really help a lot. Also, if you can help out financially, even $1 would help. So if you can and you have the availability to do so, donate to this podcast. This podcast is going to be really moving into the more serious side of, for lack of better terms, prepping. Um, it needs to be understood, and I'll mention it several times throughout the podcast, but it needs to be understood that if you're prepping, if you're truly prepping for a grid down situation or something like that, this isn't the kind of thing you brag about. This isn't the kind of thing you tell people about. This is the kind of thing that you practice in silence. The more people that know what you have are going to be, or it's going to be more people knocking at your door asking for handouts. So even if it's tempting, even if you feel you need to be the center of attention all the time, and this would be the segue into the ultimate pay attention to me, I know what I'm doing situation, don't. Don't do it. You, oh man, there's so many people out there that might as well just wear flashing lights and have a siren blaring and dragging a wagon behind them with a huge sign that says, I prep, I have food. Um, so just don't do it. Keep it to yourself. All right. So this topic today is going to be on going gray, going totally gray, man, if possible, or at least starting to get into the mindset. And there's things you can do to practice, even if we're not in a grid down situation, even if things aren't going to shit. There are things you can do to practice. It should be a slow transition. If you're the kind of person that goes to work and dresses up and suit and tie, and it's not even required, but you're the one that's always in a suit and tie, you are not gray. Excuse me. You are not gray. You are the opposite of gray. Same thing for women. If you go to work and you gotta have the loudest makeup on and the loudest perfume on, and you gotta be showing the most or doing the most or walking around so everyone gets a look at you, you're not going gray. You're not even close to gray. As a matter of fact, you're flashing red. I'm going to get back to it again, but the cologne thing is huge because some people just don't understand how to use cologne to begin with. You should not wear so much cologne that if you stand still for more than a couple seconds, you leave a puddle on the floor of cologne. You should walk through a room and nobody actually smell you unless they're directly in front of you shaking your hand or behind you choking you out. They should not smell you when you walk into a room. Those of you who feel the urge to directly apply cologne, like the liquid form, to your body, maybe it would be better if you just took a bath once in a while so you didn't need that much cologne. And if you think you're impressing people, you're wrong. People are pointing fingers at you and laughing at you when you walk past them. I know I do. So, and I know the people that run in my circles do. So, tone it down, Tiger. You don't need that much cologne. Okay, back to the topic. A good description of going gray, in my mind, is it's not something that describes paranoid preppers or doomsday fanatics. The gray man is a tactic used by operators and special forces all over the world so they can blend in with their surroundings while in plain sight. It's also a tactic that's used to stay alive. You can't go gray, or you cannot not be gray in a situation like you can't be wearing, your high tops and sweatpants and, a Steelers sweatshirt if you're in a third world country. You're going to stick out. So, and also keep in mind, being gray does not mean you're on a mission or playing out some weird military fantasy. Being gray allows you to move without being noticed, or at least not gaining attention. Um, how do you? The first thing to accept if you're going gray is tactical is your enemy. Any type of self-expression is basically your enemy. If you're in a situation where you need to go gray, you need to accept the fact that no one needs to know you have a Gucci purse or a Gucci wallet or a Gucci belt or a Gucci sweatshirt or a Prada, whatever. You should look bland. Um, Tactical appearance is your worst enemy in a grade, or I'm sorry, a grid down or worse situation. You don't want to give yourself away. People will take notice, so you should be quiet, very conservative as far as what you're wearing. Um, your goal is to move through an area and be completely forgotten. You really must geez, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. You really must mirror the attitude, appearance, expressions, the volume level. This is important, the volume level, and the speed of movement like most of the people around you. Volume will draw attention to you immediately. If you're one of them people that speaks loudly, you need to think about that in a gray man situation. You need to take the tone down if you must speak at all. A really good way to accomplish this is strictly mirroring everyone around you. Don't just pick one person, but pick about 5 people, and out of the 5 people, you should be able to extrapolate an appearance that will help you blend. Um, it takes time. You got to practice it, but you can do it. Trust me, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. One of the easiest ways to prepare for going gray, in my mind, would be to Goodwill, or to go to Goodwill and buy clothing off the shelf. Um, Goodwill or the Salvation Army is a treasure chest of clothing that can be used to become a gray man. So if you have all that clothing hanging in your closet that's already pressed out, neatly starched and ready to go, that's not what you want in a gray man situation. You want that clothing, like I said, at Salvation Army or Goodwill, wrinkled, definitely worn and used. I wouldn't buy shoes there, but pretty much anything else for clothing wise, coats, everything. It's a treasure chest, and it's an opportunity to be able to go gray very, very easily and very inexpensively. Currently, we are not in a state of social disorder, or at least not a high state of social disorder. We're not in a grid down or social collapse situation, but I have adopted a gray man way of life for my day-to-day living situation. I have a very forgettable truck. I dress simple in dark clothes or earth colors. I only wear cologne at special events, and when I do, it does not linger in a room when I leave. I keep my phone on vibrate, and I wear a watch that I can view text messages without constantly pulling my phone out and looking at it. You don't want to be that guy that's always looking at his phone. That's a reason for someone to pay more attention to you right there. I never in public hold my phone at arm's reach on speakerphone and yelling while I'm talking, on the phone while I'm in public. I'm gonna go off on a rant here. Just take it for what it's worth, just in case someone is one of them people that likes to hold their phone away from their face and talk to it so everyone in the room knows about the conversation. I would like to point out that this is always a dick move, no matter if it's male or female. This whole screaming or holding your phone out and talking to it on speakerphone because you're too damn lazy to hold it up to your ear. Yes, we get it. You want to show off the fact that you have the latest technology that's not available in your personal place of origin, our country, probably third world, and you guys use coconuts for currency. We don't care. We really don't care. No one 10 feet away from you gives a shit if you find something funny Or why would anyone laugh so loud at thinking something they're holding at an arm's length that people 30 feet away from them can hear them? Well, while we're on the topic, do you really need to have 7 flags from your country in the front and back window of your car? Trust me, we know where you come from. Also, with the loud stereos, dear God, these booming stereos in cars that if you pull up next to them, you have to listen to their music because your stereo doesn't go that loud. I can honestly tell you, those people with those loud car stereos are what I'm going to use to zero my Barrett 50 cal in when I finally get it and I finally snap. Be warned. Loud music, Barrett 50 cal, pew pew. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, this has gotten completely off topic and completely counter gray. Holy shit, did I ever get off topic? Let's get back to the subject. Keep in mind, any MAG, for those of you that don't know what a MAG is a mutual assistance group. It's a group of people that have discussed their abilities and decided that they would make a useful group working together in a grid down situation. Man, don't form a MAG with people that, oh, I like to watch football with him and this guy always has the best beer. That's not 2 reasons to adopt people into a MAG. They have to be people that you can use, and we'll talk about that further. But right now, like I said, any MAG with any communal intelligence would not allow the guy or gal that must be the center of attention, i.e. screaming into their phone at arm's length, loud car stereo, too much cologne, ridiculously loud clothing, or has to be wearing that Gucci purse when everybody knows they can't afford a Walmart purse. Do not allow these people into your MAG. Just, that's another side note. I'll try to get back to going gray, but it's kind of combined. You would never bring someone in your group that is one of those look at me people. Just keep them out of your group because they can't break that habit. The mindset of going gray, I mean, it takes a lot. There really is a lot to take in because it dictates every move you make, everything you do. It's not just as simple as throwing on a baseball cap and walking the same direction as everyone else. This area of going gray is a mindset. It must almost become an obsession. You must observe everything that takes place within sight and hearing and then mimic it. You must then go one step further. You must also believe that you are what you are pretending to be. Mistakes are made that will give you away when you stop and think. Do not act on a stringent pre-plan where you move with purpose and direct course and direction, checking a GPS constantly or compass as you go. Bad guys or bad operators will be looking for organized activity and travel. You would be a target at this point. Most likely not immediately, but when you get back to your MAG or the point of your destination. Once in a truly tactical situation, never travel directly to your destination. Move past it and away, and definitely on an angle. When the opportunity presents itself, stop, check your 6 to see if anyone is following you or observing you. If you're out of a dense populated area and you're moving on an angle away. And this is why you move on an angle away from your MAG or your stash or whatever you're doing. If you're moving away from it and they're following you in that away direction, it's time to think tactical real fast because you're about to go pew-pew with somebody. So just keep that in mind. Do not go directly to your point of origin or stash if someone is following you, and get ready for a pew-pew situation. Okay, if you've developed a truly tactical outward appearance, you still have to remember that you must appear to be spontaneous. No direct actions. You should appear as confused as everyone else as far as to what's going on. Do not look or give off the appearance of the man with the plan. Next thing to keep in mind, and this is hard for people, especially me, I hate standing in lines, But even if you have enough food to last the rest of your life and you come up upon a situation where there's a food line and there's people standing in line, get in line for food. This draws attention off of you immediately if someone's thinking this guy's hoarding food, or this guy comes from a mag, or you did something that tipped off maybe you're a person of interest. Get in line for the food. If people are complaining about the food, complain about the food. If people are grateful, then you should be grateful. But this is that time you don't want to stand out. You would be giving, if you kept walking past the food line and we're in a grid down situation for weeks on end or whatever, keep in mind, only people with vast stores of food would pass up a free food line in a shit hits the fan scenario. It goes the same for water. Walking around with an empty water bottle, asking where you can get water is not a bad idea, even if you have an endless source of water back at your hooch. If people are walking around dehydrated and disheveled, asking for water, that's what you should be doing. Now, you could be moving towards the point of your final destination, but you should be walking around with an empty water bottle asking about water. If you're walking around with a water bottle asking for water, people are not going to be stopping asking you for water. Think about it. If you have an empty water bottle in your hand and someone walks up to you, they're going to look at that empty water bottle and say, this guy doesn't have water. It's real simple. It's the simplest things that people forget or don't think of. So understand, do not walk past lines for food or water. It really gives you away. Now, your mental state. This is going off a little bit further on truly blending. If you enter into an area with a crowd and the whole crowd is screaming about, let's say, how much they hate purple eggs, just go with it. You better be screaming about it too. You should be at the point where you have a reason why you hate purple eggs. That's how seriously you have to blend in. Do not take this lightly. This is all good information. You really should be standing there screaming about purple eggs also. To summarize blending into a crowd and movement, if everyone else around you looks cold and miserable, you should look cold and miserable. Again, you'll need to humble yourself. You will need to get into food lines, and if food is being handed out or water is being handed out, you're going to need to get in those lines. Walking past a free food line when everyone around you is starving is a dead giveaway that you are not part of the crowd. To be clear, if you have a large stash of food somewhere, but you need to move through an area where food is being handed out and in very low stores of food, where food is being brought in or something like that, get in line for the food. This goes for water also. Anything people are desperate for, if it's cold and the Red Cross is handing out coats, doesn't matter if you have an military extended cold weather system. Go grab a coat. There will be use for it later. This is being mentioned twice because that's how important this situation and this type of situational awareness is. Always, always, always do what the crowd's doing. Like I said, you can move in your general direction that you need to be moving, but do it acting as a member of the crowd. And don't forget about screaming about the purple eggs. All right, this is another big one. No one in a crowd, or no one when you're in a shit it's a fan situation and the grid's been down for a week or two, no one is your friend. The only people you should even remotely trust are the people in your mag, if you have a mag. If you're running alone, if it's just you, no one is your friend. Do not stop and talk about anything. You could give something away you shouldn't be giving away. Never just stop to talk. I don't care how lonely you are. If you've been alone for a week and someone wants to talk to you or ask you questions, don't get tied up. Use the I'm dehydrated, I have a headache, I can't even think straight. Let me catch you on the way back. I got to get water. But don't become friends with anyone. You shouldn't trust anyone. It's that simple. In this case, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a priest, a cop, a firefighter. Don't trust anyone. If you are stopped by anyone, after they stop you, first words out of your mouth should be asking where you can get water or food. Don't just start answering questions. It's a dead giveaway that you're coming from supplies, food, or whatever. It's a very simple tactic used to disseminate between people that are starving in a third world country or people that come from an area of food. So think about it like this. You come up to some kind of a checkpoint or something, and they say, where are you from? And you say, well, depending on the day of the week, I might come from here, or I might come from there. It depends. It's my mind. Wherever I want to go, that's where I go. Okay, you just set off a lot of red flags. Whereas if someone says to you very sternly, where are you from? Standing there with an AR-15 pointed at your favorite face. First thing you should say is very confused way is, do you have food or do you have water? Keep pressing for that. You almost want to act insane about needing the food and water. Do not start making up a backstory on the spot. Do not start saying, oh, I came from blah, blah, blah. Don't do that, okay? Food and water, that will make you look more like the crowd than anything else. You need food and water. You need water. Water is important. That's the attitude you should have. And for the record, headaches are the best way to try to make it look like you're dehydrated, still functional, but dehydrated. Headaches are one of the first signs of dehydration. You will be giving the trained observer a sign that you are truly dehydrated and you probably need water to survive. But don't think you can bullshit your way out of a situation by someone at a checkpoint or someone that just stops you. You're not going to bullshit your way out. Just ask for water. Do not create backstories. Never promise anything to get out of a bad situation. If you promise someone that when you get to where you're going, they have plenty of food and water you'd be willing to share, you've really created a bad situation for yourself, because now they know if they follow you, there are food and water stores there. So just shut up, ask for food and water. If they don't have it, doesn't matter what kind of gun they have, act uninterested. Just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just stand here then. You don't even know where you come from at this point. So much is going on, you're just moving through. That's the appearance you got to give. That's the appearance that's going to keep you alive. You might get smacked, you might get butt stroked or something like that, but you're no good to anyone in that state of mind. Trying to think what other topics I want to push on here. Let's go with the definite don'ts, okay? It's a long list of things. Definite don'ts, though. This is what keeps you alive. It's not so much the things you do in a situation like this. It's more about the things you don't do that give you the gray man appearance. And if that doesn't make sense, I'm hoping after I go down this list it makes a little more sense. And yes, I did create a list. I said it before, but there's no Prada or Gucci in a gray man world, okay? This is not time for a ghillie suit or tiger stripe boonie hats. It really isn't. You should not do anything military. You must observe the crowd and adjust and adapt. You must be fluid. You must be so bland that you are invisible and completely forgettable. So here's your list of don'ts. Military affiliation patches, hats, or t-shirts should never be worn. They give off the appearance of two things. One, that you could pose a threat because you have military training, or two, you're probably prepared and that you have the beans, bullets, and band-aids that everyone else needs. Just because you wanted to wear, like in my situation, a Marine Corps t-shirt, I just made myself a target. Same thing goes for law enforcement and firefighting stuff. Don't wear it. It's a bad idea. Anything 511, like the 511 pants, sweatshirts, jackets, don't wear them. That gives away that you're tactically prepared in some way, shape, or another. Any form of tactical gear, to include web harness gear or anything military issue should not be worn in plain sight. A big, and I mean big, giveaway that you're prepared, but obviously don't know what you're doing, is a military field jacket, the M65s. One of the best jackets ever made. Unfortunately, it's like setting off a red flare when you wear a jacket like that in a crowd, unless that jacket is ripped to shits and has more holes in it than you could imagine. Don't wear something like that. You can have something like that where your mag is and that you wear in your mag, in and around, but in and around a safe area, but don't wear it out in public. Okay, EDC bags, if you're going to wear a pack you get through a crowd and stuff, first of all, wear it on your front, wear it around your front. If you have it on your back, someone's going to grab it, cut a strap, and go. Always wear your pack on the front. Be prepared, you should have one hand on it if possible at all times, just in case someone cuts the strap from the back and tries to yank it. At least you have your hand on it. But keep your pack in front of you and wear it so if someone grabs it, they can't use the strap to strangle you. Keep that in mind. Also, if you're wearing a backpack of some type, don't put a field knife on the shoulder strap, with like if you're right-handed, it would go on the left shoulder strap upside down, snapped in. Don't do that. It's a ridiculous place to put a knife. Honest to God, it's stupid. If you want to put a flashlight on there, fine, but you shouldn't have anything on those straps, that doesn't give away the fact that you're ready to fight or anything like that. Pistols in chest holsters. Bad idea. Don't do it. If you approached me or someone with the same training as me, honest to God, we would get the gun from your holster and have you on the ground before you knew it hit you. And always keep in mind, it's a really bad day when you get shot with your own gun. No drop leg rigs. The rigs that lay down closer to your thigh than on your waist. Dead giveaway. There's no persona to occupy or act on. What you're doing is taking what everyone is wearing and extrapolating a look for yourself. You got to be bland. Slinging a Barrett 8.2 A1 over your shoulder is not being gray. I wouldn't have any weapons in plain sight, okay? I've already mentioned some of this. Hold on a second, let me look. Clean boots, clean shoes, dead giveaway. Get them dirty, really dirty. If they're boots, get them scratched up. Do not wear new boots, polished boots. Do not get out the boot polish. Don't do anything like that. Nothing looking new. If you have a weapon, if you have a pistol, don't put it in your pack, because if you get jumped, they're going to cut the strap and take the pack and run. You won't be able to retain your pack if there's more than one person. So if you have to have a weapon, it must be concealed, not attached to anything else. And this is the one time I would say, the only time I would say, concealment is more important than accessibility. A gun shouldn't be printing. You should have that gun tucked in somewhere where no one will find it. If it's a rapid access situation, if you're in a situation where you need rapid access to your gun, you shouldn't be out moving around in that shit. Stay low, stay hidden. Avoid a situation where you really would need access to a gun, if at all possible. When moving through a crowd, do not start to make eye contact with people that you perceive as threats. Do not make eye contact if you can avoid it. You got to think about it like this. And I know this isn't directly related, but it's the best way to equate it. You're walking through the mall, a mall somewhere or a department store somewhere, and you see that girl or that guy watching the crowd with a cologne bottle in their hand. They're trying to find someone. once you've made eye contact with them, Antonio with the spray bottle, once you make eye contact with Antonio, he's going to BZO in on you because he knows subconsciously you're interested in what he's doing. You're done. You're going to end up with that cheap-ass, weird-ass unisex cologne on you in one way, shape, or form because Antonio isn't going to stop until you buy the shit. I know it's very abstract compared to what we're talking about, but it's the same idea. It's the only way I know to make it applicable. If you've ever walked through a mall or walked through a department store with a cologne section, and if you remember, like, if you're older like me, back in the 80s, you were free game. If you were a teenager walking through a department store and they saw you and you looked like you had any money, you were going to walk out of there smelling like you took a bath in that Brute 33 or whatever shit they're spraying on you. And yes, if you know what Brute 33 is, yeah, you're one of us. But let's get back to it. Sorry. You just need to look uninterested in anything going on. Even if you make eye contact with a bad guy, just keep moving. You're uninterested. Keep going. Use what is around you to take more than a casual look at something you're interested in. Like if you can look at it in a reflection in a car window or a store or a house, whatever you can use without looking directly at the direction you want to travel or item you're concerned with, always try to not look directly at it for any time at all. Quick look and look away. But you can look into a window and spend some time doing it. You know what I mean? You can study what you want in the reflection. Don't look directly at it. If that doesn't make any sense, get a hold of me. I'll explain it better. It's very important. At the end of this, I'm going to give an email address that you can reply to. I'll tell you what, if people start sending me stupid shit, I will find you. Do not do it. Just use it to ask questions or if you have ideas for podcasts. So I'll give it to you at the end of this podcast. Back to what we were talking about. Peripheral vision is a good way to collect information. It's primal. Peripheral vision is part of your fight or flight instinct. Peripheral vision is very useful at night. But you use peripheral vision. You can use it to gather information without looking or staring. Start practicing. I practice pretty much every day with my peripheral vision. If I'm out hunting, well, not out hunting, but out in the woods or doing something outside, and something moves very quickly, I don't turn to face it. I don't run. What I do is I use my peripheral vision to look at it. I don't make any sudden movements. Sudden movements give you away. Sudden movements, if you're trained, put you into a muscle memory reflex mode that can really get you in trouble. So remember that. Peripheral vision, stay calm until it's time to not be calm. But it's a good way to assess threats. So I'll say it again, practice your peripheral vision. You are going to be observed at some point. A bad guy or whoever is going to be looking at you. At some point, you will be observed. This is the whole reason for being gray. They're going to look at you and move on to the next person. If your pack is printing, like if you can see you have like a Ruger 1022 takedown tactical in there and your barrel is pushing through the bag, they're going to know what that is. So you don't know when you're going to be observed, but I'm telling you at some point you will be observed. You should be giving away the appearance of dehydration, starvation, confusion, and dear God, let's just get this over, end it now. That's the appearance you should be giving off. Keep that in mind, because I'm telling you, you're going to be observed by someone at some point. No matter how gray you are, you're still there. Do not rush away. Like I said, like if there's a plane crash or something, don't rush away from a threat. Don't rush from one area of concealment to another. This is erratic behavior and will be spotted immediately by the trained eye. So don't use duck and cover to move from point to point. You're walking around, flipping stuff over, looking for a source of water or a source of food. If you're moving towards in the loose direction towards where you want to be, you don't want to be darting from one area to the next. First of all, that indicates that you have food, because one of the last things you're going to do when you're starving or dehydrated is think clearly enough to tactically move in a correct manner. So there's that. If you're going to be using mode of transportation that isn't a horse and buggy, is it a monster truck? Is it a four-wheel drive that screams you're ready for the impending apocalypse? If your personally owned vehicle screams, let's start a war, you've got a problem. Dumb your vehicle down, whatever you're going to be using. If you're bugging out, which I highly recommend you don't, but if you're bugging out and you're going to use a vehicle to do it, it would be much safer to do so in something that looks like some beat-up old farm truck than a jacked-up Ford F-150 with spare gas cans mounted on the rack in the back and, what do you call them, spotlights on the mirrors and all that shit. Really bad idea. Really unsafe idea. All right. Here's a good tip. This is really good. Pay attention. Don't wear anything that smells like detergent that you use to wash clothing. If you have to, take it outside and rub it in the dirt. Whatever you got to do, but don't wear. Your smell will give you away every bit as quickly as how you present yourself visually. Smell is a very strong sense, so don't forget. If you're going to be doing laundry, if you have access to water to wash your clothing, which is very rare in a grid down situation, all water is being conserved. But if you're in a situation where you can get to some water to wash your clothing, just wash it with water. Don't use soap, don't use anything else. Just wash it with water. And like I said, if everyone else around you looks disheveled, like they just crawled out of the grave, then you better start rubbing some dirt on you. Because if you're the guy standing there with clean, no dirt, you're a target. It's real simple. This is not complicated stuff. If you have to move at night for some god-awful reason, don't use a flashlight. Do that thing where you sit in total darkness for, half an hour, 45 minutes. Let your eyes adjust better. Let your eyes, sorry, just bumped the microphone. Let your eyes adjust to the dark, but do not use a flashlight. Several reasons. One, it shows that you have equipment that requires batteries. This means you were prepared, but also stupid. That flashlight contains a valuable commodity, which would be batteries. Do not use a flashlight. If you have to use something, you're better off using a light stick. Let somebody take it half an hour, it's going to be nothing. But do not use flashlights to move at night unless you're deep into the woods. You really don't want to be wearing a flashlight or using a flashlight. Okay, this is the technical part of it. Assessing baseline appearance. I don't know if it's going to make any sense to anyone, but it really explains the whole thing by saying that. You know what, on second thought, I think we're going to end the podcast here. Try to keep it short and sweet. Baseline appearance is where we're going to start. I don't know if I'm going to get another one out this weekend, but I will be trying. Now, what I was talking about getting in touch, again, please use common sense. I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care how many cans of beans you have. If you have questions, send them. If I don't know the answer, I'll look it up. But if you have any questions for me, send them. If you have any compliments, I mean, I don't care if you want to challenge what I have to say, that's fine, but be an adult about it. Don't be a little bitch. Because if it's stupid, I'm going to talk about it on the podcast, and anyone listening will hear it. And hopefully all your friends, neighbors, and loved ones that know you hear it one way or another. I will call you out. So keep it simple, keep it respectful, and just be an adult about it, okay? The best way to get a hold of me is an email address, and it's real simple to remember. It's sasquatchprepper95@gmail.com. Just all one word, sasquatchprepper95, and then @gmail.com. I check it probably 2 or 3 times a day. It's also where my compadres get a hold of me, but I'm sharing that with you. And if it gets stupid, I'm just going to delete the account and start another email address up. It's no big deal. But if you keep it simple, if you keep it, respectful, I would appreciate that. And if it's a good question, I'm going to give you credit for the question. If you don't want me to use your name or code name or anything like that, that's fine too. I can make it anonymous. And as long as you stay respectful, I won't call you out. But if you are disrespectful, I'm going to make every effort to make you look like a fool on the podcast. And again, it's sasquatchprepper95@gmail.com. So I'm going to end this with the words of a great man that were actually recorded. I look up to this individual. I think he's got his shit together. So I'm going to leave it on that note, and peace out. I was just reminded of something. The email address, sasquatchprepper95. It's sasquatchprepper95, but it's numerical 95, not written 95. So in the words of the most intelligent and dangerous individual in the galaxy, I leave you with the following words. And trust me, they're words to live by.
And that's why I always say, shum shum, slippity dop.